Hello and welcome to my channel. In this video, I'll be using the Tonic Studio Snow Much Fun. I believe it's their showcase die set that was released during birthday week not too long ago. And I'll be creating shaker ornaments using the penguin dies in this set. Now, the blisters that did come with this set can be used for both penguins and snowmen. So this die set is super versatile, and you'll have dies that cut out shapes for both penguins and snowmen, however you choose to use it. And I'm filling the belly or the shaker with some fake snow, which I thought would be super cute. What I've already done is die cut the full penguin shape. So there's one die cut that cuts out the complete outline of the penguin with his feet and wings and everything. There is another die that cuts out the head and body of the penguin, which that die you could use as a snowman. So that one is the one that doubles up. I'm going to trim off the little feet here because I do want his feet to be orange. And so I've done a partial die cut of just the feet, and I'll be gluing that right onto the back of the penguin. Now, before I do that, I decided I wanted to trim off the excess plastic from the blister pack. You don't have to do this if you don't want, because it is clear after all, so it's not a big deal to leave it, but I just didn't want that extra plastic showing, and so I went ahead and trimmed that off. Now, I do recommend, if you do plan to trim your blister pack, that it might be easier to take the outline die cut of the penguin and just trace that onto the back of your blister and trim the plastic off before you actually glue it down. That way, as you're trimming it off, since it's not attached to your cardstock yet, you don't have to worry about accidentally cutting into your paper. So I would definitely recommend doing that on the second ornament that I created. That's how I did it, and that seemed to work better for me. Of course, you can do it however works best for you, or skip that step altogether if you want to just leave the extra plastic there. Here, what I have is sort of my little penguin frame, and I die cut this using the outline of the penguin and using the die that cuts just the head and body. And that way we get that nice little aperture, and it fits right over your blister so that you get a nice clean finish on the front. And that just covers up the where the blister is glued down. And here I'm just cleaning up some of my trimmings, especially right around the corners of the wings. And that's the other reason to trim your blister before attaching everything, because then you can get smoother cuts, you can get a more precise cut, and you're not trimming around odd angles. So I definitely found that easier. I'll go ahead now and attach the penguin legs, and I can still see where I cut the original feet off. So I was able to just place that exactly where the original feet were. And the nice thing about this penguin is that it is symmetrical. So you'll see I'll take advantage of that in a bit here. Now, with the face, what I did was I die cut the face, and as you saw just a second ago, I did use it as a template for inlaying the eyes and the nose back in. And the reason why I do it that way, certainly you don't have to. Once you have all the bits, you can kind of just place the little nose and eyes and the cheeks if you use it, wherever you like and however you like. But I wanted to sort of just match how it was designed and get that placement just right. And so that's why I used one layer as a template, and then I just inlaid the pieces back in. So it's going to kind of exactly be in the position that it was designed to be in. The other thing that I played around with was the idea of gluing the face and the belly so that it was inside the blister, but I chose instead to put it on the outside, and on top of the plastic, because when it was on the inside, it almost looked like the penguin was trapped in a bubble. So I thought this looked a little bit better. So here what I'm using is I've got a magnetic mat and some magnets. These are from We Are Memory Keepers, and this is their freestyle foil pen. And so what's really awesome about this is that you can write whatever little message, you can draw with it, and it just transfers that foil brilliantly. So what I found worked best for me was to do the writing first and then die cut. That way I can center in this case, the name of my nephew on the belly of the penguin, and have it be nice and centered. I tried it the other way around, where I die cut first and then tried to center my writing on the die cut, and that was much harder for me anyways. I've got the Spellbinders foil set, and it just cuts these lettered hexagon tiles, and I have another foil set from Spellbinders that has some Christmas sentiments and a full set of numbers. And so I've got the tiles with my nephew's initials, and then on the second belly piece there, I've got the year 2021. And so this is going to sort of be a set of ornaments both for my niece and nephew, who are brother and sister. And so they'll each get one, and they'll each of the penguins will have their names and initials on them and the year. That way they know when they received it. So here is the second piece, and I'm just gonna do the exact same thing I did on that first one over again. I'm gonna create a second penguin blister, and you don't necessarily need two if you don't want, but I rather like the dimension of having the double blister, so that front and back, it sort of looks the same. The only difference is that the belly on the front will have the name on it, and the belly on the back penguin will have the year. And that way they can hang this on the tree, or they can hang it somewhere else where it's free to kind of rotate back and forth, and you can actually see it from all sides. So again, I hadn't learned or thought to trim my blister ahead of time. As I mentioned, when I went to make the second one for my niece, I decided to trim first and then glue down. And but as you can see, you can kind of do it in any order. And it'll work out just fine. And I am using a combination of dry adhesive along with liquid adhesive, because I find the dry adhesive gives a nice instant stick, whereas the liquid adhesive will be a nice permanent bond, especially since we are attaching onto plastic. So if I was to just use the liquid, then it would slide around a bit, whereas having that bit of dry adhesive just holds it in place so that I can continue working on the penguin, even though, it's not completely dry. So on that first penguin, I did have to double up on the belly because I didn't think about the foiling and the personalization until later. So once I decided to do that, then I really committed and added as much foiling wherever I could. So that includes having the year on the other side of the penguin, and as I mentioned earlier, the initials in those little hexagon tiles. So now that we have our two penguins, penguin shakers, and of course, you could just leave it at that and then have something to hang the ornament by at the top, but I'm actually going to attach those two halves together. The beauty of this design is that the penguin is actually symmetrical. So you can attach these back to back and they will line up perfectly. I did use my Big Bite to just punch some holes in those hexagon tiles because I'm actually going to thread those tiles through some twine, and the twine will be what the ornament will hang by. So I'll go ahead and tie a little bit of a knot at the end here so that those little initial tiles, hexagon tiles, will stay at the end of the loop here. And then I'm gonna glue the ends of my twine to the back of my penguin. And I'm going to use some more dry adhesive. So I've just got a little section of score tape here. You can use whatever adhesive you like, but I do like getting the dry adhesive because I can really get that all the way to the edge of the penguin die cut. So I'll go ahead and place that down. And since I'm not ready to attach the other end yet, I'm going to put the paper release liner right over top so that I don't accidentally get anything on there that's going to reduce the stickiness of the tape. And I'm going to place tape on the other half of the penguin as well. To attach the two together, I chose to use Beacon 3-in-1. Beacon also creates Fabri-Tac, which is a glue for gluing fabric together, and it's the 3-in-1 is a really strong glue, so I thought that would be really good to use to attach, because we've got that little bit of twine as well, and it has a lot more time to kind of wiggle things around and get them in place, which I benefited from a lot because somehow or other, when I went to glue down one set of penguin feet, I didn't quite get it in the right spot, but these are symmetrical. So if you do line up the feet with the original location, it will line up just fine. I don't know what I did wrong, but as you saw, I just easily tore that up, and then luckily I had another set of feet ready to go. So that's one benefit of having extra pieces around. Because this glue is a little bit more liquid, takes a little bit longer to grab, I'm using clips to hold it in place. And these are just my sewing clips. And once it's fairly firmly in place, I'm going to rest the edge of the penguin on my roll of tape here. And that allows me to burnish it down really well because it's lifting the ornament off of my table. And that is pretty much our shaker ornament complete. So as you can see, we've got the twine here that you can hang this up by. There are these little initial tiles, hexagon tiles at the top. And we have the name of the recipient on one side and the year on the other. So whether this is hanging on a tree or somewhere else in the room, it's nice and finished all the way around. And as it swings, you can see, both sides of it. So that is my project for today. If you like this video, please consider liking, commenting, and sharing. And if you hit the subscribe button and the bell, then you'll get a notification whenever I post new videos to my channel. Thank you so much, and until my next video, happy crafting and have a fantastic day. Bye!